Hey guys, welcome back to PWTB. Another week of PWTB. I'm Jake, joined by Evan. Evan, how you doing?
Glad to be back. I had a great spring break last week, but I miss you guys, so glad to be back.
So, um, so let's jump right into it. The round of 64 and the round of 32 March Madness games happened this week. Evan, what's the most surprising game that went down to you?
Okay, I don't have a clear most surprising. Obviously, the big one is Purdue FDU. We're gonna save that one because we're talking about that later in the show. But some other ones, some underrated ones that kind of stuck out to me. I'll go round of 64 first. Three in round 64, round of 64. Number one, Penn State versus Texas A&M. Penn State was not a great basketball team this year. They got hot in the tournament, but then did end up losing to Purdue. I thought Texas A&M, they were, they were crying to get in the tournament last year. They didn't. They were like second in the SEC throughout this year. I thought, were they going to go to the Final Four or anything? Probably not, but they would have a strong showing. That game was over within 5 minutes. Like that was the late game on night one, I think, right, Jake? Or night one or two.
Which one?
Penn State and Texas A&M.
I think it was on night two, I believe it
Yeah,
was.
night
Because
two was one of the late games.
I think the first night was UCLA and UNC
Yeah.
Asheville.
And it was the Penn State just dominated them. That one was over in like 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, well, I'll watch the other ones. This one's over. That one really surprised me how much. Not that Penn State is good, but how much Texas A&M didn't show up. Number two on round of 64 was FAU and Memphis. This one was just crazy. And Memphis, which has been, a smart team all throughout, coached by Penny Hardaway, obviously former NBA star. And they just unraveled. They unraveled, and FAU was just the smarter team in the end. They turned it over. Their star got hurt. Then they started fighting each other with 3 minutes to go on their own team. That's not a great idea. And then eventually they turn it over. Yes, you could argue that jump ball call was a little suspect, and I definitely agree with that. But still, why are you throwing the ball around? This was pretty much the same thing as the Virginia game. Why are you throwing the ball around? FAU gets it. They get 5 seconds. They get a great play to go right to the rim. I was really impressed, but I shouldn't have been because Conference USA continually puts great teams into the tournament. And FAU is no exception. They're in the Sweet 16 this Thursday facing Tennessee. Last one in round of 64 that caught my eye was Duke and Oral Roberts. Not really because of Duke. Everyone knew they'd play solid. They played great defense. They got a good new coach after Coach K left. It was Oral Roberts. They were never in that game either. Oral Roberts was a really good Summit League team. They were ranked super high in the NET, all the polls all throughout the season, and they did that. It was like 20-0 to start the game. I was talking to a group chat and where guys like Oral Roberts score a bucket challenge because they couldn't score one, or Oral Roberts take a shot that's not a three challenge. Some of those teams, like Oral Roberts has the one with the 7-5 guy, they center their offense all around those guys, and they can't do anything else because they don't have any perimeter shooters. So that one caught my eye too because of how much Oral Roberts didn't shoot up. I have one for the round of 32, but Jake, I'll hand it over to you. Any initial surprise games to
Yeah,
you?
round of 64 games. One game that really surprised me was Kennesaw State and Xavier. Many people give Kennesaw State the benefit of the doubt when they got into this tournament, but they hung around with Xavier. I think they led until about 5 minutes to go in the game, I believe,
Yeah.
and they just kept pushing. I mean, what a showing by the Owls, really. And then another game is Miami and Drake. Miami coming off not a great showing in the ACC tournament, and Drake is not a team to be slipped on either. But Miami pulled off the win at the end.
No, because
And then,
Drake was winning that game most of the time, but then Miami surprisingly played really good defense. They shut them out the last 5 minutes.
yeah,
But
yeah, second half they shut him down.
yeah. Yeah, they're really impressive. Miami the last 2 years in the tournament's been really impressive. They're playing in
And then
the
probably the other game that surprised me a little bit was like we were talking about earlier, UCLA and UNC Asheville. UNC Asheville was not in that game at all. Like that
No,
game
but
was
were they
over
supposed to be though?
5 minutes into the game.
Yeah. Were they supposed to be though? UNC Asheville versus UCLA?
I mean, I thought UCLA was just gonna blow them out, but
Yeah.
they were in the tournament for a reason, obviously.
I like the one where Howard was playing Kansas and then Kamala gave them the after speech, like, you guys did so great after they got beaten up. Like, it was, I mean, it was
Yeah,
fun. I have nothing bad to say about that. I just thought that was funny. But
right.
okay, there was really only one. I mean, obviously there was a lot of upsets. Kansas went down, other big teams went down. In the round of 32, there was really only one that kind of really stuck out to me, was Creighton and Baylor. Where did Creighton come from? They were ranked really high to start the season. They were ranked like 10th, but then they started losing to bad teams. They didn't do super great in the Big East. Now, all of a sudden, here they come. They beat NC State, and then they beat Baylor, who, yes, was down a little bit this year, but still plays in the Big 12, plays competition, and they were only national champions 2 years ago. And they had, I think Creighton was a 2-point favorite going in the game. They showed out. They played a really good game. Creighton in that game surprised me on how well they played.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with you. Creighton and Baylor is the most surprising game in the round of 32, and maybe Howard and Kansas as well.
Howard and
Um,
Kansas, yeah.
yeah, I mean, Kansas was supposed to be a Final Four team, and they lose in the round of 32, but that's how it is. But Creighton hung around a lot with Baylor.
Oh, I
Baylor
think
was supposed
you
to be a
mean
top team
Arkansas
as
and
well.
Kansas, right? Yeah. Or
No, it was. Oh
Howard was
yeah,
in the,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Round of
yeah.
32. I'm sorry. Yeah,
No, you're good.
64 was Howard and Kansas. 32 was Arkansas and Kansas. I'm sorry about that.
One more thing about this tournament as a whole so far, and we didn't really talk about it because it's kind of an obvious upset, but the way
Yeah,
Princeton played, I love it.
right.
I love it because they've been a really good team for
Love it.
quite a few years, but they haven't got the respect. You go in and you beat Arizona, who is an absolute fraud every single year, and then you beat Missouri, who's a decent team. Uh, Respect for the Ivy League.
Yes, respect for Princeton. So, two more things really quick. Predictions for the Sweet 16. Who do you see moving on to the Elite Eight?
Okay, so Thursday's games are Michigan State and Kansas State. This one is such a toss up to me. I'll make it quick though. I will go. I think Kansas State's going to pull it out. They've been impressive. Uh, FAU Tennessee. This one is tough. Tennessee has been playing really well though. They're playing with vengeance. I think Tennessee is going to win this game. And then what else is Thursday? Thursday is Gonzaga and UCLA. I think Gonzaga was trailing TCU for a while. They barely beat them. I think UCLA is the far better team this year. I think they're going to win. And then the other game is
Arkansas and Connecticut.
UConn and Arkansas. I think UConn wins this big. I think Arkansas has played a good tournament, but UConn is on fire right now. They know where they're trying to go. I'm going to pick UConn. What about the Friday games? What do you have in those, Jake?
The Friday games, Miami, Houston. Who you got? Quick picks, quick picks.
Houston.
All right.
Sorry.
San Diego State and Alabama.
um, San Diego State in an upset. I think they've been playing very well. Alabama is, of course, a great team. We got to pick an upset. Yep.
Princeton and Creighton.
Creighton,
Xavier in Texas.
Texas. I think I was thinking they were going to face Iowa State, but Iowa State played terrible. So no, I'm going to pick Texas to move on.
I'll go quickly with my picks here. Arkansas, Connecticut, Connecticut. FAU, Tennessee, Tennessee. Michigan State, Kansas State. Toss up like you said, Kansas State though. Gonzaga, UCLA. I'll go with UCLA. Miami, Houston. I'll go with. I don't have a pick in this one, remember? So
Yep.
I can't pick this one. San Diego State, Alabama. Go with Alabama. Princeton, Creighton, upset Princeton.
I hope so.
Xavier
I
in
just don't see
Texas.
it, but yeah.
Xavier in Texas. I'll go with Texas. And then finally, last one is how's your bracket doing, by the way, Evan?
Let's not talk about it. We'll post them at the end of the tournament. Yeah, it's not over, but it's over. I've literally stopped. If you don't have any, like, I haven't even looked at my bracket since Sunday. So if you're at that point, just it's over.